What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and in today's video we will be hosting the weekly subscriber Q&A, so before we get into it, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe and hit the intro music. Alright, you guys, we got plenty of comments and questions to get into this week, so let's go ahead and hop straight into it with the first comment here left over on my Discord from Azura and Valerie, who asks, a friend of mine made the case that collaboration characters are more valuable than BS characters because you can craft dimensional exchanges and it's way too difficult to get memories for them. They do have similar AP and collab cards are just as valuable, so what do you think? Thank you for the question, Azura and Valerie. As always, I appreciate it. And your friend, this isn't a very big hot take from him. This is something we've talked about here on the channel and a lot of people have discussed over the course of the past several months with the lament of these limited banners. Now, while collaboration characters, it is true, it is easier to build them, and they are typically going to be a lot cheaper on your rubies in order to get them because you really only need to pull one copy, and you don't have to worry about getting multiples, so you don't have to invest as steeply into collaboration banners. There are quite a few differences there. Now, of course, the first big one that everybody is going to bring up in this discussion is always going to be that BS and SS characters are usually going to be much more powerful than collaboration characters. This has seemed to be the trend so far. The one thing that I would caution people with that is that we've really only had one, if I can remember correctly, collaboration since we started getting limited banners in the first place, and of course that collaboration would be 7 Deadly Sins, so I wouldn't necessarily make that judgment call 100% just quite yet. But I do think that in the case of what we have seen so far, it is very true. Now, we'll have to wait and see what Dead or Alive 6 brings, but I do have a hard time believing that they are going to be on par with BS and SS characters, but you never know what Netmarble might pull. As far as them being easier to craft and so on and so forth, as far as memories, well, of course that's true. You can go ahead and craft dimensional invites for them and build them up a lot easier than you can with BS and SS characters, and I think that's why a lot of people typically will say that if you are a beginner, or a free-to-play player, collaborations are going to have a whole lot more value to you and offer more value to you than the limited banners will, just because you are going to end up having to invest so much more into a limited banner. But do keep in mind that there are going to be pros and cons either way, with the BS and the SS limited banner characters on average typically being much more powerful than what you would see with collaborations. But we'll see what happens with Dead or Alive 6. But thank you for the comment, Azura and Valerie, I appreciate it. Alright, and our next comment comes to us again from Discord, this time from Ken8, who asks, hey Theo, wanted to ask you whether we would ever see SS Mai and SS Athena ever again. These are two SS characters which did not have a return, hoping Netmarble would make all SS and BS characters available in the unified banner permanently. Thank you for the question, Ken8, and as far as the SS and BS characters ever being available on the unified banner is concerned, that is definitely not something I ever see happening. They have drawn a very distinct line in the sand when it comes to the limited banner characters versus the unified banner characters, so I definitely do not see that as being something that they'll ever want to do. As far as rerunning SS Mai and Athena or any of these other limited banner characters from the past, I definitely think that is in the cards and will happen at some point. It's just a question of when. They have proven at this point that they are pretty much going to stick to their guns as far as making these characters very limited and sought after, so it may be a while, but I do think that eventually we'll see them back. So definitely something to look forward to, Ken8, but I appreciate the question, thank you. And this next comment comes our way from YouTube from Chad Laker, who asks, what device do you use? Game keeps crashing on mine. Thank you for the comment, Chad. And as far as this one is concerned, I get this one a lot. That's why I wanted to put this one in here. For those of you who are not aware, I use a ROG3. So when it comes to my performance for this game, I don't really have any issues whatsoever for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll hit a lag spike here or there, but that's about it. As far as this is concerned, though, a lot lot of people ask about this kind of thing and say that their games crash a lot. I think it really just comes down to a RAM issue. Now, I do have a secondary phone that is the old phone that I originally started this channel on, and I still use it from time to time for the game to do dailies and things of that nature, and that one is a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, and I've never had many issues with that one either. It does run slower than my ROG 3, but I've never noticed it being anything that to where I can't get through things. So yeah, I think that it really just comes down to what kind of device you're using. Definitely want to make sure you take a look at your specs as well as what the recommended are for the game. If you're looking at maybe doing an upgrade or something like that, you should probably be looking at RAM pretty hard anyway. But I think it usually has to do with a RAM issue when it comes to these performance problems, when it comes to crashing and so on. So hopefully that helps, Chad, but thank you for the comment. Next up, we have a question from Victor Tapia, who asks, anyone else having issues with not being able to see ads? It's been a problem regarding the 30 daily rubies and the 2 character summons. Thank you for this comment, Victor, and I've seen a lot of people have issues with this, and I used to have issues with this myself. I'm not exactly sure why this happens. However, if you do have issues with ads, there's been 2 things that I've done to fix it. One is just go do something else in the game and then come back to it, and then that will make it work. Kind of, I don't know what the change is there in the background or what happens, but that tends to fix it for me. So for instance, if I'm trying to do an ad and it's not wanting to work, I'll just go and maybe auto clear a daily or something and come back to it, and then it'll work just fine. If that doesn't work, you can try and just close the game down and reopen it, and that usually fixes the issue. There's a couple of different ways you can go about it, but it's typically not something that will be persistent as long as you try to do something. So I would try some of those things if you're having issues. If it persists, you may want to contact Netmarble, but yeah, I have had those issues myself, and I know a lot of people have asked this before, so hopefully that is helpful towards you, but thank you for the comment. And next up, we have a comment from Andre Nusa, who says, I wish the Fest Selector was not a Fest random box, and Netmarble should give a Fest Selector in the $5 pass. Thank you for the comment, Andre, and yes, I completely agree. This has been something everybody has discussed ever since those original battle passes were released and then subsequently changed after they got around to the next run of them. It would definitely be far preferable if they would just give us a selector with the pass, but at this point, I have a hard time believing that they're going to go back to the way that it used to be. It's very unfortunate because there was a ton of value there. I still think that the $5 passes hold quite a bit of value for the most part, especially if you're somebody new. However, if you're a veteran, it really doesn't offer you a whole lot because a lot of the time you're really just getting it for the unified banner tokens, and that's about it. So that's really the problem, but hopefully eventually they do add more of a value proposition to the $5 pass, but we'll have to wait and see. So thank you for the comment, Andre. I appreciate it. Next up, we have a comment left from Inspirix, who asks, are you going to cover Punishing Gray Raven? Thank you for the comment, Inspirix, and I've actually had a couple of people bring this game up to me. I'm not sure why or what's going on with it. I haven't really looked into it. You guys can let me know in the comment section if you want me to try and cover this game. I can take a look at it and see if it's something I would have interest in. Like I said, I have not really looked much into this game, and I don't really know anything of it, but I've heard a lot of people asking me about it, so let me know in the comment section if you guys think that I should check this game out. But right now I am pretty much married to Marvel Future Revolution at this point, so yeah, I've been hitting that game pretty darn hard. So thank you for the comment, Inspirix, and I guess wait and see, maybe I will. The next comment we have is from Leo Kang, who says, TBR, about the new update, will they change the epic characters and new stuff? And the story stages, do you think they will open new stages? Thank you for your cooperation, bro. I appreciate the comment, Leo. Thank you. Now, as far as this is concerned, I think you got a couple of questions in there. Now, we do know that Epic Quest Chapter 2 is going to be live with the anniversary update next week. That is something that we have covered here on the channel and that Netmarble has confirmed with several dev notes, something we've known for several months and that I am extremely excited for. As far as new story, though, that is something that is long overdue. I get the feeling that we're going to be waiting several months, though. That's probably going to be something that's going to be part of a fall or winter update at this point. It seems like they are trying to close the book on the Nest saga at this point when it comes to all these different game modes. So once they get the Nest saga completely sewn up with Epic Quest and all these other things, I think that's when we'll start to see new story mode added. We are long overdue, and I know a lot of people out there could definitely use the rubies that come along with new story mode updates. Even if at this point they add in more difficulties for the story mode, I don't believe anybody would be upset by that. Typically, story mode updates are something that are very well received by the community, so at this point I think it would behoove them to get around to it sooner rather than later, but they have not said anything to confirm it. It is not going to be part of the anniversary update, at least as far as we're aware at this current point in time, but I'm sure that here over the course of the next several months we'll start hearing about updates being made to the story mode. But Epic Quest is something to look forward to, and that will be bringing more characters and cards, hopefully. So thank you for the comment, Leo. I appreciate it as always. All right, now we have a couple about the collaboration itself, and the first one is going to come from the Gamer FE, who says, "It's nice that the anniversary update is a week and 3 days after the BS ends and not in the same week." Yes, I completely agree. This is something that is very welcome, and I don't think anybody is going to complain about this. Netmarble does not need to give us all the details on all these updates right off the bat, but they can give us a heads up when we can expect certain updates. So kind of like what they did with this third anniversary. We've known when it was going to be coming around for the past several weeks, and it's very nice to know, at least kind of have an idea of when these types of things are going to happen. That way we can at least plan somewhat and budget somewhat around those release windows. And as far as giving us that extra week and a few days in there, that is something that is going to be much needed for a lot of people. I know a lot of people really like these last two BS characters, especially their designs and just the way they looked overall. Plus they were two characters that are very popular amongst the community from the sounds of it. So definitely something that I am glad that they did, and I think they should probably do in the future. But thank you for the comment, Gamer FE. This next comment is from Snow McSnow, who says, "I'm more interested in the kind of cards we will get from this DOA 6 collaboration." And this is something that I've brought up numerous times over the past several months with everyone, something I have always told people in the past, even before I had a channel, and that is that card banners typically, when it comes to collaborations, will age better than the characters themselves. This is only really due to the fact that characters get power crept far quicker than cards do. So if you're looking for what the real value is when it comes to these collaborations, a lot of the times over the long haul, the cards are typically the way you want to look at things, because if you look at past collaborations, almost invariably the set cards are going to still be useful for something, while the characters can kind of get phased out pretty quick. So this is something that I think people should put definitely a lot more attention on when it comes to these collaborations. Pay attention to the cards, because they're low-key the MVPs of collaborations a lot of times. But thank you for the comment, Snow. I agree with you completely. And I think we got time for one more. So we have a comment here from Crump, who says, "I like the idea of the collab, but not the characters they chose for it." Now, the reason why I wanted to highlight this comment is because I've been hearing this as a narrative from a lot of people when it comes to Dead or Alive 6, and I don't really know a lot about Dead or Alive enough to be able to tell you guys how I feel about this one way or the other, because even if I did, I probably wouldn't really have much of a horse in the race, because again, Dead or Alive isn't necessarily something I am super big into, but I do see where people are coming from. The one big comment that I could make on this, I guess, is something I haven't said here yet, and something I have mentioned on Discord, is I am a little bit disappointed that we only have 4 actual original characters being added in, and the rest are going to be just swimsuit variations of the same characters. But I guess it's kind of a wash when you consider that there is going to be more content available in this anniversary update as far as actual game modes are concerned. So maybe that's where some of the development time went to. I'm not entirely sure, but as far as male characters being on the collaboration versus them all being female, we all know why Netmarble went the direction they went with Dead or Alive 6. And let's be honest, most people are fans of Dead or Alive for one big reason, whether they want to admit it or not. So at the end of the day, people wanted their waifu-filled summer anniversary event, and they are getting it in spades, and I don't necessarily think that Netmarble really cares one way or the other about the male characters in Dead or Alive 6 at this point. So it is what it is. We're going to get what we're going to get. I try not to get too hot and heavy or upset when it comes to these types of things when they choose these characters for these collabs, but definitely appreciate the comment, Crump. Thank you. And that is going to be this week's Q&A, you guys. As always, I appreciate everyone who leaves comments on my Discord, on my YouTube channel, on Reddit, so on and so forth. If you want to be featured in a future Q&A, make sure you leave your questions and your comments in those different places. But until tomorrow's video, I will see you guys in the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Continue.